Hi, I'm John Gray, and I am the program coordinator for Coach a Kid. What is Coach a Kid? Well, Coach a Kid is Enid's mentoring program. It's sponsored by the United Way and AmeriCorps. So what we're going to be doing with this program is focusing on the mentoring process, the schools that take part of Coach a Kid, as well as the students. So stay tuned.
Well, the Coach a Kid program actually originated through the Education Committee of the Human Services Alliance. We had a good collaboration of many organizations, many educators, education institutions, United Way, Enid Chamber, CDSA, and everybody was in agreement that there was a huge need for trying to develop a mentoring program that was in the classrooms or taking place at the schools.
Children need confidence, and they need to know that they're supported, and they need to know that someone's in their corner.
I actually have kids in the Enid Public Schools, and there's a clear need, and I thought there was an opportunity to be involved, and I thought it would be rewarding.
We have about 5 or 6 kids right now participating with mentors, with a waiting list, I could say, as we're trying to fill other mentor spots for our kids.
By the Combinotron 2000.
By the Combinotron 2000, we switched the batteries around, and
as he has grown with his mentor, and you watch them together, they communicate well together. They have a good relationship and a good bond, and we see that spill over into the classroom a lot.
There's been a major improvement on his grades. 3 years ago, he was making C's, D's. Year after that, probably C's. This year, this last report card that he brought home 1B and all A's, and I am just so proud of him. He's just come so far, and I know the mentoring program has helped him tremendously with that.
He's made great strides academically. I think he's more confident, sure of himself.
His confidence with education has gone up so much that it's amazing to me. Not necessarily the academic part of it, but he's confident now. He sees a math problem and he's like, oh, I got this. He sees a hard word in a book and he said, oh, my mentor taught me how to say that word or how to sound it out or how to figure out what it is. So that's been really helpful in the classroom with him.
Okay, I'm gonna roll these. I thought he was a real sweet little boy. I thought he was pretty shy, pretty reserved. I wasn't real sure that he wanted to be there. But we've had a great relationship over a 3-year period, and I think it's been beneficial to both of us.
He's always very outgoing, but it was a more outburst, and now it's very controlled. He thinks about what he says and who he's saying it to, and he's very respectful now. When's
the next time you have a Cub Scout outing? Do you know? My approach to this has always been that you have to listen to the student, you have to care, you have to work with them on the things that, that they need improvement in, and it needs to be fun. And my goal has been to make it fun and make it be a time period that he looks forward to. I think one of the most important things about mentoring is just to be consistent. There's no special talent required. It just requires caring and giving a hoot and being there, because many of these kids that are in need, they've seen enough disappointment, and so they need somebody that they can rely on and that it's going to be there. And I don't mean to suggest that there's not some flexibility. I think that's a good thing about Coach a Kid. What we've tried to do, Titan and I, is just schedule a time period for 30 minutes, maybe 45 minutes once a week, and inevitably there'll be things that come up. Maybe they've got testing, or maybe I've got conflicts, and we can adjust that day for the week. But it is important to try to make it every week, and I know I look forward to it, and I hope he does.
That's one of the things I notice, is they're so excited when the mentor comes.
He loves it. I mean, if I ask him how'd it go, all he says is, I love it. I love being with my mentor, and I love having that interaction. And so I don't know what they do. I know they read, but whatever he's doing with him, it's working.
This is my 31st year in education, and I know how kids thrive on one-to-one interaction. It is difficult as a teacher in a classroom with 25 or 27 students to provide a lot of one-to-one interaction. We get a lot of small grouping in where we're dealing with maybe 6 or 7 kids in a small group, but you can imagine throughout the day how difficult it is to provide just one-on-one with a student. We try to do that as much as we can, but when a mentor comes in and it's just them and the student, the one-to-one interaction is so important because the kid knows you're on my side, you're here for me and me only.
As a teacher, I see everything that these kids can do in the classroom, but I don't get to see necessarily the reaction that they get when they're just one-on-one with somebody. Now, I do tutoring after school, but it's just nice for them to know that they have that one person who's taking their time out of their day to come and see them and only them. And I think that's what makes the biggest difference with Titan, is that he can always look forward to that Tuesday morning at 9:15 seeing his mentor. And when that phone rings at 9:15, he's like, oh, it's my time. I gotta go. So I definitely would, just the joy of seeing that in a kid or anybody is amazing.
Research tells us that everyone needs a support system. And some children have that within their family, and it's enough for them. Some children may or may not have that within the family unit, or they just need something additional for support. Kids, in order for them to achieve and to grow, they've got to have a support system. Coach a Kid is one of the ways we provide that support system to them. That doesn't necessarily always look like a kid sitting down doing an assignment on a piece of paper. That's not always what the support system looks like. Sometimes the support system looks like us sitting and visiting for 30 minutes about some things that are important to you or questions that you might have, or how can I help you and support you.
At the beginning of the year, going out to recess, you would see him kind of wander off by himself.
He didn't want to play with anybody. He just stood in the corner. He would go outside to the playground, but they would catch him just standing up against the fence. He just did not know how to go play with other children. He didn't know how to make friends.
And now you see him playing with a group of 4 or 5 boys, and it's usually the same group, and they're running around and they're being boys, and he's definitely himself a lot more than before.
By him getting into the mentoring program and the Coach a Kid, he's really come out of that shell. He's making friends. He's very outgoing.
They got to go to Oklahoma City and receive an award, and the mentor and the mentee got to go. And it was a great, great opportunity for both of them and for us as Coolidge and as Enid Public Schools.
Well, that's a real nice honor, and I really appreciated it. It was nice of you all to do that, but it's not a me thing. You know, there's a ton of people that are involved in the Coach a Kid program, and there's mentoring going on in Enid through other organizations. I think that's important. In going to Norman and being a part of that that whole program, I was taken back by the fact. I think they had 400 people there. Some of them mentees, some of them mentors, a lot of organizations that are involved in mentoring around the state. I think it's great to have Molly and David Bourne, President Bourne at OU, involved the way that they are. So I was impressed with the fact that we've got that level of mentoring going on around the state, and I think it's a great way to get a jump on it, and we need to do more of it.
It just takes someone who has a passion for children and someone who wants to make a difference with a child who might need someone, an adult, that could work with them.
If somebody's interested in the program, I would say there's a great need in Enid, and don't be taken back by the time commitment, because it really is something that can be flexible. Again, I think the point needs to be consistency, but there's flexibility from week to week on when you would do it.
We've probably got at least 11 or 12 kids right now sitting on a waiting list that we're waiting to get mentors for those students. So I just would encourage people to take a look at it and see what it's about.
Dive in, and you'll I promise what I get out of mentoring surpasses any time commitment that I'm putting in it. It is rewarding, and I don't know what could be more important than trying to influence and change the life of a kid.
I don't think Titan would be where he's at today if it hadn't been for the mentoring program, the Coach Your Kid program. It has just been so tremendous for him, bringing him out and helping him with his grades, and we are so thankful that that program is available and that he's been able to be a part of it.